Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm David Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's top stories. A substance used in animal tranquilizer is making its way into drugs used by people. The problem is that this substance can eat away at human flesh. Should California mandate kindergarten for kids? That's a question some lawmakers are now considering. And a celebrity chef is opening a new restaurant in the Bay Area. But the city and restaurant builders had a small legal dispute over gas stoves. Breaking news, the man charged with murdering Cash App co-founder Bob Lee has pleaded not guilty today. A San Francisco judge is keeping Lima Momeni in custody without bail following Thursday's arraignment. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for Friday. Documents from the district attorney's office say Momeni and Lee had an argument before the fatal stabbing on April 4th. The two men reportedly knew each other before the incident. An attorney for Momeni pointed to a toxicology report showing drugs in Lee's system on the night of the stabbing. She says people under the influence, quote, make bad decisions and do bad things. Meanwhile, in Southern California, a veterinary drug dubbed the zombie drug is making its way to streets of Los Angeles, and officials are now sounding the alarm. The drug is known as xylazine, a substance used in animal tranquilizer. But according to the DEA, when people use the drug, it can eat away at human flesh, stop breathing, and reduce blood circulation. LA authorities recently launched a new program to track when xylazine is detected in seized drugs. The program is expected to run for a month before officials consider their next steps. Los Angeles isn't the only place dealing with increased use of the drug. The DEA issued an urgent public safety warning in March that xylazine is being used as a cheap cutting agent for fentanyl and has already reached 48 states. At the beginning of this year, a California radiologist was accused of trying to kill his family when he drove his Tesla off a cliff in San Mateo County. But now a newly unsealed search warrant alleges the man was depressed.
California radiologist Dharmesh Patel drove his car off a cliff earlier this year. But a newly unsealed search warrant reveals that Neha Patel, the wife of the radiologist, told rescuers that her husband was depressed and needed a psychological evaluation. The Patel family, with their two children, plunged several hundred feet down a cliff at Devil's Slide in San Mateo County on January 2nd. All four people survived in what officials called an absolute miracle. But at the time, Neha told rescuers that Dharmesh intentionally drove off the cliff in a bid to kill her and their two children. On the contrary, the husband said he pulled off the road to check a possible flat tire, according to the warrant. However, witness testimony does not appear to back up his account. Dharmesh has since pleaded not guilty to 3 charges of attempted murder. He is in custody without bail, and a preliminary hearing is scheduled for June 12th. Authorities are asking additional witnesses to call the CHP San Francisco area at 415-557-1094. The warrant affidavit includes an interview with Dharmesh, who says his wife was irritated shortly before the plunge because she didn't want to stop at his brother's house in San Mateo County before making their drive home to the Los Angeles area. According to the SF Chronicle, Dharmesh said he was not really depressed, but that he felt down because times were bad in the world.
The Department of Agriculture is moving toward vaccinating California condors against bird flu. Emergency approval for the vaccine comes after more than a dozen condors have been killed by the virus. There are just over 500 of them left in the world, so the deaths are said to have set conservation efforts back by a decade or more. The USDA granted emergency approval because of how critically endangered the birds are and how easy the small population is to monitor. Since the vaccine has never been used, it will first be tested on North American vultures. Walgreens' parent company has reached a multi-million-dollar settlement over its role in San Francisco's opioid epidemic. The U.S. District Judge in San Francisco accused the company of a 15-year failure to properly scrutinize opioid prescriptions and flag possible misuse of highly addictive drugs. A judge ruled last August pharmacies in the city received more than 1.2 million opioid prescriptions with red flags for over a decade, yet performed due diligence on less than 5% of them before dispensing them. Walgreens disputed liability and did not admit fault in a statement. The settlement has averted a trial to determine damages. Attending kindergarten may become mandatory. California lawmakers want children to complete 1 year of kindergarten before going to first grade.
Senate Bill 767 would require children to complete a year of kindergarten before being admitted into grade 1. Currently, the state only requires children to attend school once they turn 6, and parents have the option of enrolling their children in preschool or kindergarten.
Oh, you want to say hi? It's a good way to get them to learn a little more, to know how to communicate with other kids and to get them ready for actual school, like waking up early or like being around kids.
Do you think kindergarten should be mandatory for kids?
I have a mixed feeling, although I sent both of my kids to kindergarten, but I don't see lots of value sometimes because of like the time that they spend there. They were not like learning a lot.
The bill's author, Democratic State Senator Susan Rubio, says her policy is aimed to close the state's achievement gap and adequately prepare students for the first grade. According to a March statement, Rubio says, quote, "I have witnessed the detrimental impact on young students who continue to suffer the consequences of not receiving the fundamentals of an early education. The disparities for students are not only physically visible as it pertains to a student's confidence and participation in class, but also academically measurable." If passed, an analysis of the bill estimates between 14,000 and 30,000 toddlers will need to enroll. This will cost the state education fund millions of dollars. Last year, a similar bill was vetoed by Governor Newsom due to its high costs, which were not accounted for in the state's educational budget. The bill previously passed the State Senate Education Committee in a 6-1 vote on April 26. This week, the bill is set for a hearing before the Senate Appropriations Committee.
Celebrity chef Jose Andres plans to open a new restaurant in the city of Palo Alto, but not before a small legal battle with the city over gas stoves. Let's take a look.
In Palo Alto, city administrators are providing an exemption to celebrity chef Jose Andres to allow gas stoves in his new restaurant, named Zaytinya at the Stanford Shopping Center. Previously, the city asked the restaurant to comply with its all-electric requirement for new buildings. But according to Palo Alto Online, faced with the threat of a lawsuit, city administrators have reversed their decision. Simon Property Group, or SPG, originally applied to build the restaurant in 2019. They received local approvals before the city council revised building codes to require all new buildings to be electric. SPG attorney Anna Shimko argued all electric stoves would alter the caliber of the food and would force the five-star restaurant to change its menu. Shimko wrote in a statement, "Without a gas connection and appliances, Zaytinya would be forced to alter its signature five-star menu, which it is unwilling to do. Zaytinya cannot compromise the caliber of its cuisine and reputation, and if SPG cannot provide gas in Building EE, Zaytinya will likely choose to not locate within the city. This would be an unfortunate loss for the residents of Palo Alto, as well as a compensable loss for which SPG would be forced to seek redress." In the end, the city of Palo Alto has granted an exemption, saying in a public statement on Tuesday, quote, "Building EE at the Stanford Mall is a unique situation. where parts of the project were built or under construction when the city's all-electric new construction rule went into effect. Due to the years-long planning effort which started in 2019, 3 years before the city adopted the all-electric requirement, the city and the mall have agreed that this one project should be able to proceed with gas service, consistent with the long-established project plans. Other businesses, however, may not be so lucky. Palo Alto's administration added that this is a, quote, one-off situation, and other buildings are required to be all-electric.
We'll take a short break now, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. Homeless deaths have increased in LA, and one of the leading causes is drug overdoses on fentanyl. Californians living in small towns across the state have made big donations in the upcoming 2024 presidential election. We'll take a look at which zip codes are backing Trump. And NTD hears more from Caltrans about how to tidy up your home. They share tips on how to properly dispose of unwanted household items. Those stories and more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, David Zhang. Now, a newly released report shows that homeless deaths in Los Angeles have increased by 55%. The county says that drug overdoses due to fentanyl is the leading cause of mortality.
A new report this month by the Los Angeles County Department of Health has revealed a 55% increase in homeless deaths. According to the report, drug overdoses were the main cause of death, reaching over 1,400 fatalities among the homeless population in 2021. Additionally, 37% of deaths were caused by fentanyl overdoses, making it the leading cause of mortality for unsheltered men and women under 60 years old. Los Angeles County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath says in a May 12th news release, quote, "This report underscores the enormous destruction fentanyl is causing our communities. To know that people that are experiencing homelessness are 39 times more likely to die of a drug overdose compared to the overall population of LA County is yet another painful reminder of the harm our unhoused neighbors experience and why we must continue to move with urgency to address the crisis on our streets." County data shows the rate of fentanyl deaths among the homeless population almost tripled from 20% in 2019 to 58% in 2021. And data from the National Institute of Health reports that drug overdose deaths rose to 70,601 in 2021, also identifying fentanyl as the primary cause. Bill Thomas, NTD News, Los Angeles.
More on homelessness. As we heard yesterday, big cities across the state are looking for more ways to address the homeless crisis. And in San Diego, city officials say they will open 2 sleeping sites.
San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria and City Councilman Steve Whitburn announced last week that the city is opening 2 safe sleeping sites for the homeless. The 2 sites can accommodate 650 tents. It will have restrooms, 24-hour security, free meals, and social service agencies. The sites will not allow drug or alcohol use. The cost to do this is $5 million and an additional $1.4 million to clean up the encampment's waste. Both costs will be included in the city's budget. According to officials, this move aims to provide more desirable places to sleep for the homeless, to create safer neighborhoods, and to clear sidewalks for the city. Gloria said that the ultimate goal is to help people get back onto their feet and move into long-term housing. Whitburn believes the safe sleeping sites are a win-win solution, saying the sites are a more desirable alternative for some compared to homeless shelters, and the public will see fewer homeless living on the streets. Currently, there are about 4,800 homeless people in San Diego. About 52% of them are unsheltered.
Day by day, the 2024 presidential election draws closer, and candidates are working hard to collect donations to support their campaigns. And while California is known for being a deep blue state, some residents have collectively donated over $1 million to former President Trump's 2024 presidential bid. Let's take a look at which zip codes are home to the top California donors.
In November of last year, former President Donald Trump announced his plans to run for the presidential seat again in 2024. So far, his committees have raised millions of dollars. By the end of July 2022, the Political Action Committee, Save America, one of Trump's largest PAC affiliates, have collected more than $99 million on Trump's behalf. Slacker analyzed Federal Election Commission records from January 1, 2022 through March 31, 2023, and compiled a list of the zip codes that have donated the most money to Trump. The total number of donations from California was just over $1,300,000 from around 22,000 individual donations. The top 5 zip codes fell in Bella Vista, Somis, Ranchero Santa Fe, Occidental, and Avila Beach. Most zip codes fell in smaller towns across the state, in both Northern and Southern California and along the coast or in the Central Valley. Only FCE-processed records from unique individuals were used in the analysis. The towns listed beside each zip code represent the most sizable community within that respective zip code, but do not necessarily represent its entire population. Zip codes with populations under 1,000 or with fewer than 10 individual donations were excluded from Slacker's analysis.
If you're trying to clean out your garage, create more living space in your living room, or make it possible once again, walk into your walk-in closet, then good news. Your cleanup crew has arrived with a price tag you're guaranteed to love. NTD's Christina Corona tells us more.
If you're tired of being weighed down by the useless clutter in your home, our friends at Caltrans are here to lend a helping hand. They're offering a free service this weekend that most of us in California need to know about. When we think about Caltrans, we picture construction workers, freeway maintenance, and a long string of orange cones. But Caltrans is doing even more for our Golden State by helping to keep things neat, clean, and organized with a very important event. We spoke with Allison Queen, a public information officer with Caltrans, who told us why they host something called Dump Day events.
Well, we host these events, these dump day events, out of necessity. These dump days are for residents to dispose of unwanted household items, old furniture, old toys, garage items for free. These dump days also prevent illegal dumping because people have a place, instead of putting it on the sidewalk, their unwanted household goods, they could bring it to our dump day events and drop it off for free.
Who exactly is permitted to participate in these events?
Everyone and everyone. We're inviting all people to come and to take advantage of these free dump day events, from San Francisco to Los Angeles to San Luis Obispo. We want everyone to really help keep California clean by taking advantage of these dump days.
Since everyone is invited to participate, that's got to add up to tons and tons of junk.
We collect up to 300 cubic yards per dump day event. Though the trash goes into 40-foot bins, which are hauled away by our contractor and taken to landfills.
Even though they're taking in a massive amount of material, there are some limitations as to what people can drop off.
We don't accept hazardous waste. As far as the public being honest, we have Caltrans workers, maintenance workers that are sorting through the trash and inspecting it.
Additional items they won't accept include batteries, propane cylinders, car parts, paint containers, and more. Queen also made it clear that commercial drop-offs will not be permitted. Now, are there any restrictions regarding how many times people can visit these dump day events?
There is no restriction at all. We have many residents that return 2 and 3 times with household items, and our Caltrans maintenance workers will help all customers unload their vehicles or trucks.
This free dump day event is part of Clean California, which is Governor Gavin Newsom's $1.2 billion multi-year cleanup effort led by Caltrans to remove trash, create jobs, and more. Now, $1.2 billion of your tax dollars is a lot of money. So how is it being spent?
The money is being split between litter abatement, public engagement, education, and beautification projects throughout the state of California.
For folks who don't want that huge vegetable juicer from 1998, those old cookbooks that grandma left you, and all those outdated clothes that don't even fit anymore, then you may need to take part in Dump Day. And to learn more about this event,
For folks who want to know more about these wonderful dump day events, we encourage you to go to cleanca.com. Again, that's cleanca.com.
Queen shared with us her final thoughts on this weekend's dump day, as well as just how critical Caltrans safety is.
First of all, I want to encourage everyone to take advantage of these Caltrans sponsored dump day events. And for drivers out there, I really want to encourage them to slow for the cone zone, watch out for our workers. They're like family to us.
Caltrans crews provide a safe and reliable transportation service that most of us tap into every day. But they're doing even more by helping us all live a clutter-free life. I need this service. Christina Corona, NTD News, Norwalk.
Now let's check in with NTD's Tyler Castile for today's Sports Roundup.
Let's dive into the California Today Sports Roundup. I'm Tyler Castilla.
First up, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Champion Award is handed out annually to an NBA player who's recognized for pursuing social justice. Stephen Curry was named a finalist for Golden State, alongside with Jaren Jackson Jr., Trey Jones, and Chris Paul. The winner will be announced during the 2023 NBA Conference Finals and will receive a $100,000 donation to a social justice organization of their choosing. Next up, a pair of rookies stole the show for Los Angeles as Miguel Vargas walked with the bases loaded and James Outman hit a grand slam to power a comeback victory over visiting Minnesota. With the Dodgers trailing 3-2 in the 7th inning, Vargas' walk tied it, and Outman went deep to center field one pitch later against Emilio Pagan for his second career grand slam and 9th home run of the season. Dodgers starter Dustin May lasted just one inning before he departed with right elbow pain. Dodgers 7, Twins 3. In the Giants vs. Phillies game, Wilmer Flores hit a 2-run single to headline a 3-run 8th inning and lift host San Francisco over Philadelphia. Flores had 2 hits and 2 RBIs for the Giants, who swept the 3-game series. But unfortunately, San Francisco starter Ross Stripling left the game with low back tightness. But John Brebbia earned the win in relief. The Phillies have now lost 4 straight. Giants 7, Phillies 4.
And that is all for the California Today Sports Roundup.
Thanks, Tyler. And that's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Ganjin World, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.